There's in the industry, I think there's a lot of misconceptions around SEO as like a black hat or like hacky space. There's a little bit of a game theory happening here between publishers and search engines. The AI world, this is called RAG. It's retrieval augmented generation. It's sort of a compression or a very compressed version of something you have in your mind. Basically, you'll see an explosion of long tail queries.
Welcome to another episode of AllAboutAI.com exclusive interview series. Today, we have Marcos Ciarrocchi, founder of Graphite. We'll be discussing his journey, the challenges of building an AI-powered SEO platform, and how Graphite is transforming SEO landscape. Let's get started.
So I started my career in the product management space, and then as I was working in kind of a number of projects around kind of growing our user base, the growth, let's say the growth discipline started to kind of consolidate as a discipline in terms of tech startups. And so I specialize in growth and product management, right? And when that first company that I worked at was acquired, we had a lot of success in terms of user growth. And we were the number one app in the food category in our vertical. We had more than 10 million visits a month, all via SEO and content. And we developed really good playbooks for conversion optimization. So we became really, really great experts at both SEO and conversion optimization and organic growth in general. And so after that, we started getting a lot of inbound from friend companies, other VCs had backed, for example, companies in the same portfolio, the company that I used to work at. And so we started Graphite as a consulting agency. And then through that process, because of that background in product, we started productizing a lot of the things that we're doing for customers. And that's how the platform came to be. So the platform is a suite of tools focus on topical SEO in particular, which is our unique approach. We can get into that later. But we consolidated all those small tools that we had developed into one umbrella, which is our topical SEO platform. Yeah, definitely. So one thing that we were very heavy on both bottom up and top down research. And so in terms of the SEO market, because we're bootstrapped, we wanted to go after a market that we knew existed, right? We wanted to reduce the market risk. And so the way we did that was by studying really well, kind of what are all the platforms that work in the SEO space or in the search space. And so we noticed that there's self-serve platforms like the leaders in the space, like SEMrush or Ahrefs. Then you have more enterprise platforms like Conductor, BrightEdge. Under that, I actually created basically a sort of a market map for the category, including revenue, headcount for all of these. And so I could estimate how big was the demand for products in the space. And on top of that, what we layered on was kind of our unique point of view around topical SEO. Yeah, definitely. So basically, one of the things that we're very proud of at Graphite is that we love our craft, right? And we're going through different potential names that we could use, and Graphite stood out as something that represented us because it had really positive connotations with craft, right? Like associations with pencils. And then kind of through our branding efforts, we decided we wanted to go with like kind of a dark color scheme, which is graphite color scheme. And so it was kind of a nice combination of both worlds, right? Like the digital world and the graphite in the context of a digital product, and then the graphite in the real world that we all have kind of experienced, which is pencils and being able to kind of bring down your ideas and then kind of sketch out what you do and then become a craftsman at what you do. Yeah, that's a great question. So I believe our mission is to help companies create great content and amplify their products, so our customers' products, through great content. There's in the industry, I think there's a lot of misconceptions around SEO as like a black hat or like hacky space. And we thought that this was unfair, and there's a way to do SEO in the right way. And you can see that through all of our case studies and the work we've done with the brands that we work with. There's
Right.
a very elegant way of doing SEO that's highly impactful, that can drive revenue and impact on both the top line and bottom line for these companies, because it's a highly effective channel that
Right.
compounds. So we believe in search as one of the best channels, and you can do that through putting all of your best content out there, right? Like you're creating valuable content for people to read and find to solve their user intent. And in doing that, you create trust with them, and they then transact or buy your products. And so, if we fulfill a mission, basically we want better content out there. We want search engines finding all of this amazing content from our customers, and then these people that are reading this content then transact and buy from these companies that have amazing products. Yeah. So at our core, we had three big differentiators. So the first one is that we focus on topical SEO. Basically, every other platform out there is focusing on keywords, and within keywords are basically dead. People are still going to use keywords to search for things, but what you see happening is usually pages rank for many keywords, and that's what we call a topic. A topic would be a cluster, a group of keywords that, even though they look different, they have the same user intent. You might search for the same thing in two different ways. We do this automatically and transparently, so we eliminate a lot of the keyword research or the
Correct.
time that needs to be spent on keyword research.
Mm-hmm.
Second big differentiator is context awareness. So when you're using the platform, you tell us what's your site, and then based
Mm-hmm.
on that, we actually customize a lot of the metrics that you see in our platform to be
Mm-hmm.
tailored to you. So
Okay.
that context awareness allows us to do things like instead of doing a traditional difficulty score, which is generic,
Okay.
we do a customized topical authority score for each topic that you want to rank for. We do all of this because we
Mm-hmm.
built an AI team. We've been working on AI for the past 4 or 5 years. And we not only do large language models, we've been doing embeddings and different types of clustering, graph analyses, prediction models that power a lot of the things that we're doing. And so what we actually did, we have a few 100 million keywords and search results, and we created our own unique proprietary topic graph, which
Okay.
is basically like a huge graph of topics, of things that people are searching for. And we
Mm-hmm.
know what they're searching for, but we also know what you need to write in your pages so that you fulfill their intent. And
Got it.
so that's a bit about our differentiator. And going back a little bit into the market, we believe there's potential for a bigger market of people that are not SEO experts, that are maybe great marketing managers that don't know SEO, or maybe great developers that don't know SEO. And because of our platform, they are able to execute on strategies with a smaller team or a team that doesn't have an SEO expert in-house.
I
And so
see.
we don't think we're competing directly with a lot of these SEO tools, because we're trying to go after this adjacent market of people that want to do SEO, but they don't know what to do with all these tools. Yeah, that's a great question. I would say because we're a new entrant, one of our strengths is that we can basically bring this new point of view on how to do SEO that is informed by all the work we've been doing as an agency with our clients. And so that essentially unlocks for us the ability to create entirely new playbooks. Like if you see our platform experience, it's very different from what you see out there. And so it's again like a fresh, unique point of view that we have actually proven that it works with all of our clients.
I see.
Um, on the other hand, another strength that we have is that we have a very strong AI team. And so because we have this AI team, instead of creating features just based on our product guidelines and user feedback, we actually make sure that a lot of the features that we're building are proven to work. So if we're showing you topical authority, we have a white paper where we show that our topical authority score actually is predictive of rankings.
Okay.
And so that's another strength. I would say as a weakness, on the other hand, we're a newer platform, so we don't have as many features as other platforms out there, right?
All right.
So it's something that we're trying to catch up on. And but if you are maybe more of an SEO expert and you want to be able to get very specific things out of a keyword database, you're probably better suited with a different platform that is like based on keywords. Yeah, so our platform has four core sections, and then we're
Okay.
launching a fifth one that I'm very excited in the
All
context
right.
of All About
Congratulations
AI
for that.
to start hinting.
All right.
So the four core sections are Explore. Explore allows you to discover topics. So this is a way for you to query a topic graph to find topics to write about. You'll be able to see your topical authority, the potential traffic, and eventually you'll be able to see potential conversions you can get from one topic. We
Okay.
should actually get you guys a demo so you can try it out.
Sure.
Then you have planning. So planning allows you to create a content roadmap. So you can drag your topics into different lists. You can create a list, for example, for LLMs and add all of your LLM topics in there and see
All right.
how big that market is, and then keep track of the content you've published.
Okay.
Then we have Write. So Write is all about optimizing each page. So once you decided you're going to work on a topic, let's say how do LLMs work, we'll tell you what is the content that needs to go inside of
Mm-hmm.
that in order for you to rank. So it might tell you things like, hey, you have to talk about machine learning or
All right.
transformer models if you want to talk about LLMs. You need to give a brief introduction about what a transformer model is so that you can articulate this idea well and fulfill user intent. And then our fourth kind of core kind of suite of features is Measure. So we connect with Google Search Console and with
Mm-hmm.
your analytics tools to download all the data about your performance. We get new performance daily. And so we create a feedback loop. So any new content piece that you're publishing, you're now able to see the performance. You get a bunch of really nice dashboards and features on top of that. So you get cohort analysis for your content. You get branded and non-branded traffic. You get optimization or potential traffic gain for all of your content pieces. And so you basically have a quick way for you to identify content to update. How are things going? Are we on track or not? And then last but not least, we just launched our AI tracking, AI answer tracking product.
Okay.
And with that, what we're seeing is a big opportunity as there's a lot of new usage. So we're seeing ChatGPT hitting multiple billion visits a month. We're seeing Perplexity growing very quickly,
Yeah.
ChatGPT launching search, Gemini growing quickly. So we're seeing a shift in consumer behavior where they're now going to these LLMs to search. And we believe we actually can now apply a lot of our same concepts or topics graph to questions that people are asking LLMs, and
Mm-hmm.
then help companies understand how they're performing in these answers. So if you go to GPT and you ask, hey, what are the best publications about AI? Or what are the newsletters that I should subscribe to? It'll give you a list of responses. And that will
Okay.
change depending on the temperature of the model, the different maybe variations of the question. Like maybe you said, hey, I'm a researcher. What are the publications I should read? Based on that, you'll see different answers. And so we'll help you identify what are people asking, what are the most common responses, and how you're performing in those. And so we're very excited to add this kind of AI optimization component to the platform. Yeah, so it depends. We have multiple, say, data feeds or data sources. So you go from our big topic graph, right? Like that gets updated every couple months. So these are like hundreds of millions of clusters that are created. And then on the other hand, you can go from that is updated every month or two to data that gets updated daily. So if you connect your Google Search Console, we'll pull data every day. It's almost real time. So as data starts populating, we'll start pulling that data from your site. And then we have a number of things in between, right? Like we do a lot of scraping, and so that will happen on demand. And like as you maybe search for something, if we don't have information about it, we'll go and fetch it live from different sources. We might query Google, we might query different sources, and using that, we'll kind of build some recommendations for you. So it's a spectrum. Yeah. A recent one is from a company called Fourth Wall. So
All
Fourth
right.
Wall is a company that helps creators create their own stores for apparel and for um, basically selling merchandise
All right.
customized with their own brands.
Okay.
They're used by some of the biggest creators in the world, and we started working with them about a year ago. So they were one of the first users of the platform. The results have been incredible. I think they already 10x, and we're on our way to 10x again from their
Okay.
previous
Amazing.
baseline. And basically, I think the founder described it really well. And he said our platform basically allowed him to understand really well what were the things that they needed to do in order to drive impact. I think very often, like what we see is some companies that come to us, they've bought some other SEO tools and they
Mm-hmm.
have the data, but they don't know what to do with it. And so
Okay.
this goes back to kind of some of the original ideas is we don't have all of the features, but the features we have been carefully crafted so you drive impact. And
Okay.
so the idea is that we get these companies on a cadence of producing really good content,
Okay.
content that performs, and then we give them feedback right through our dashboards so that they know what's working and they can then double down on that. Yeah, so we have a number of data sources. So at our core, we have a giant database of keywords and search results.
All right.
That database is compiled from a number of sources. Those are kind of feeds of data that we acquire. On top of that, we integrate with Google Search Console, which
All
is
right.
basically the standard for search data, where
Yeah.
you get your own data. So for each one of our customers, we allow them to extract the maximum value of their own data, search performance data. And then more recently, we're integrating with basically all of the AI providers out there. So GPTs, Claude, Gemini, Perplexity, and we're helping them for AI product to pull data from those models and understand their performance. Yeah, that's a great question. So on one hand, we have um, this basically the core at the core of the product management job, right? Um, we have a couple ways of doing this. So we have the quantitative data or the very kind of numeric data, right? So we can see how many people are using different features in our platform. We have dashboards, so we can see user behavior. We
All
can
right.
see what people are doing. But at the same time, we also like to analyze what they're saying, right? And so we meet with our customers regularly. We have a customer success team that is in charge of driving adoption of the platform. And
Mm-hmm.
so whenever someone reports a bug or an issue, we then aggregate all of these into a table. And
Okay.
so we start developing what we call themes. And so
Okay.
themes might be different types of feedback that are all related to the same thing.
Okay.
Maybe we have
Okay.
a small gap in data, or there's a set of bugs that are all related to the same issue, maybe
Okay.
some specific browser. And so what we'll do is we aggregate all of that and then we prioritize it by impact.
Okay.
And we try to solve as many of these as we can. And then there's like a third bucket, which is uh, the things that people don't know they need, right?
Okay.
Or the issues that they don't know they're having. And
Okay.
so we're always monitoring and seeing are our customers driving impact with our platform. And if they're not doing that, we try to unpack that. And so we're always coming up with ideas and new features to basically help them succeed.
Yeah.
Very often, like people or users don't know what they need, right? So
True.
you need to be able to balance both that numeric feedback, hitting KPIs with explicit feedback, and then with more implicit issues that are happening in the platform. Well, one that's interesting is that when we started building this is a tiny one, but actually let's talk about our AI tracking product. So the first version we built, we've been kind of working on this very quickly. We were showing companies the performance of how they perform across different models, right? And the first question that we got from customers was, I want to see the answers. I want to see what's happening behind the scenes. So we basically added a quick way for them to drill into the responses. And
Mm-hmm.
that's now the favorite feature of our first few users, right? So being able to see all the answers to different questions that contain their name
Mm-hmm.
and then seeing the patterns. And so that's one place where we very quickly acted on user feedback. So we quickly broadcast this to our team whenever someone has some issue, and then our engineering team or designers will come up with ideas, and then we'll add that to our roadmap and then execute. Yeah, so our engineering team is amazing at that. And so we have all the best practices around account management, data encryption, and so on. We don't really deal with like PII or very sensitive data. So even having all the kind of top-notch security best practices, our risks are generally low, so it's not a big concern. And one thing that we're doing is we're in progress to get our SOC 2 certification, which is something that we'll need as we scale. But just generally following kind of best practices in terms of securities, accounts, encryption of our databases, and so on.
Okay.
Yeah, for a content manager or a strategist, I would say that that's kind of the core user in the platform is maybe a marketing manager that has maybe a more holistic view of marketing. They know SEO. They can get some insights from a keyword database, but our tool allows them to be a lot more effective. We also have content managers and writers as part of a core user of our platform. So it's a tool built for teams.
Okay.
We have UX at the center of everything we do, and we're really proud of having like very high standards for our design. And so this is something that people always highlight is how easy and clear it is to use the platforms. We're big fans of having resources across our product. So basically, anytime you see a data point in our product, you'll see a tooltip that will link to our help center.
Okay.
And then in our help center, you'll see anything from more tactical guides on how to use a feature to deeper guides on, like, for example, how to think about topical authority and like maybe even strategy. And so we have this sort of asynchronous feedback. We have a lot of guides, a lot of Loom videos for our users. And then we also have an amazing customer success team that basically does meetings with our customers on a weekly or monthly basis, depending on the plan that they picked. And then they walk them through how to use the platform. So it's both asynchronous through videos and the help center, and then on a regular basis, kind of face-to-face in Zoom calls. We just go through strategies and how to use the platform and make sure they're driving impact. Yeah, that's an amazing question. So the way we're seeing things evolve so quickly, we think there's going to be potentially a couple changes. So we'll see traditional search engines start to do more legwork for users. So what that looks like is we'll start seeing a combination of search and LLMs. This would be similar. This is in the AI world, this is called RAG. It's retrieval augmented generation, RAG. And this is basically a technique in which you query a search engine, and then you give that data to an LLM, to a large language model, so that it can generate an answer. And we're seeing this basically become the standard or the norm across all both chat products and search engines. So you have Google with the AI overviews, which is basically they fetch data from the results and they try to summarize basically the results and cite where the language model is getting different data or ideas from. And then you also have the chat products like a GPT or even Bing Chat, where you ask a question and it will sometimes run a search, right? It'll try to find the true information somewhere. The reason this is becoming popular is that it basically combines the best of both worlds. So it can combine generation, but it can minimize hallucinations and fake data because it's actually looking at fresh data from the search engine. So we think this is a direction in which these systems will go. There's a little bit of a game theory happening here between publishers and search engines. So we might see some innovation in terms of business models. where publishers might start, basically they're starting to block the crawlers from these large language models because they want the traffic. And then some of these large language models are starting to make deals with publishers they want to make sure they can access because they have really valuable knowledge. And so what might happen here is I think the user behavior will roughly stay the same. It might change a little bit, right? Like the things that you want to search are based on user intent. So you always want to buy some jeans or some shoes, some running shoes. You still have that need. You might use different tools for that, but the user demand will stay there. It might be channeled into different products. And then those products will have different strengths depending on their business model and their strategy, right? And so we see ourselves as a layer on top of that and be able to help brands appear across any of these models, whichever is getting the right, or these products, whichever product is getting more traction will become more important for brands to be on and to control the narrative, to put their content out there and funnel the users into their products, right? And so I think that's what we'll see. We'll see, again, kind of this growth in the usage of LLMs by the search engines. We'll see the LLM vendors adding search engines to their products. So there's a convergence there. So like ChatGPT launching Search GPT. So convergence. And then I think we'll see some innovation in terms of business models. So right now you have search and search ads, and you have premium products. I think we might see some sort of hybrids where maybe premium products will start becoming free with ads. We are starting to see some experiments from Bing on that front. Let's see how that evolves. It's moving very quickly, so that's going to be interesting for sure. Yeah, I think one that's maybe I don't think it's very obvious to a lot of people is how consumer behavior will change. And so I like to think about keywords. Like when you see a search query or a keyword, and you put yourselves into the shoes of the person that's typing that in the search box. It's sort of a compression or a very compressed version of something you have in your mind. And so you know that if you type, okay, I want to buy some running shoes. I'm running a marathon next month, and they need to have these sort of qualities. They need to be this color. You might start kind of mapping that. And this was through learning through many years how to use a search engine into queries, right? And the queries tend to be short, and they tend to compress a lot of that information. So you might do best running shoes for marathon or something like that, or Nike shoes for marathon. With the LLMs, the behavior change is that people are they know the LLM can do more. And so what we're doing, or the behavior that I'm seeing, is people are giving it more work to do. So you might say, hey, I'm running a marathon next month. I want some running shoes. I want them to be white. I usually wear a 9.5 in Nike. And so you give the model all of this stuff, and then you're expecting it to crunch the data and be able to maybe where 4 or 5 searches you would run before becomes just one search you run now, but it's more complex. And this is, I think, hints at the same idea that we've been talking about, which is topical SEO, which is there's all these ways in which users can search for the same thing. They can phrase it differently, but they want the same thing. And it will become harder. Basically, you'll see an explosion of long tail queries. And then it's like, well, you used to have one keyword that had 1,000 searches a month. Now maybe that becomes 1,000 different searches. Like the demand is still there, right? There's like still 1,000 people that want to buy shoes for the marathon. They might just be searching for them in a different way. So we're going to be launching a suite of features for AI optimization. And what we mean by this is, as we see both these RAG models, right, like retrieval augmented generation models, either coming from the LLM side, like Search GPT, for example, adding web searches or Perplexity, or from the pure search side, like Google adding AI overviews or Bing adding some sort of summary. We want to help the companies understand both what are the questions that people are asking, right? Like, hey, this is what people that want to buy shoes, this is the sort of question they're asking. We want to help them understand how many people are roughly asking for these things, right? Like, what is the equivalent of search volume in this world?
Yeah.
We want to help them understand if they're ranking for these or not, right? Like, are you appearing as a brand in this list of shoe brands for marathons? And then who's getting cited and why? Right? Like, which are the media sites that are getting citations in these models? And then last but not least, we have our own proprietary algorithms to understand what are the things that make an LLM or a search engine both rank you or show you. And so we want to help you understand how to position yourself so you can get more out of your search channel. So how to optimize for these. Not just understand what people are asking and your results, but also how to change them. Yeah, we're one of the things, so we actually think, as I mentioned before, like the consumer behavior might change, but the intent underneath is the same. So the demand stays the same. It means that companies will need a platform that can help them understand how to deal with these fast change. And so I think Graphite will be this platform where companies can come to understand, to help them create the best content they can, right? Like they're investing in content creation. They want to get the best results. And so they come to us to help them with that. I think in 3 years, we might be doing more channels like we're starting to do now, right? Like we're doing search engines, large language models, or chat products. I think we might consider doing even some other channels like email or social, right? Like trying to understand what are consumer behavior patterns in these other channels and help companies optimize for them. We think we have kind of the right foundation for that. Well, that's a good question. I think you have to being an entrepreneur and starting companies requires a lot of energy. I would say not just physical energy, but you require also mental energy and the ability to overcome many challenges. So I think one thing that I always recommend people is to try to pick something that they're really passionate about. It seems kind of obvious, but I also see a lot of trends where people are maybe looking at entrepreneurship as just a way to make money, and so, I don't think that's generally sustainable. So you have to be truly passionate about what you're building, and that can be something you develop over time. But I think it's very unlikely that people can succeed if they don't have that passion at the end of the day. And so you maybe not be 100% passionate about something to start, but you definitely have to be passionate about it if you want to make it succeed. So just giving that as a caveat. I think the money and the success and maybe the accolades will follow, but you'll need to endure many problems that you'll need to solve that will require a lot of energy. So I think I'm on the I'm still on the camp on the skeptical camp. I think it's an amazing invention, and I think it'll be able to do a lot of things. But and we're just getting started, so I think there's a lot of potential from here. But I'm not able to visualize a world in which AI can fully replace human intelligence, and so maybe it's just lack of creativity on my part. But I see it as a great assistant, but that will become better and better. But I don't see it as a full replacement. Yeah, so if they're a company that's producing content on a regular basis, trying to invest in growing their search, potentially investing, say, into creating 20, 30 content pieces a month, I would definitely ask them to get in touch with us because we're probably the best solution in the market for them, and we'd love to give them a demo. Thank you guys for the feature, and yeah, keep me posted.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.